Hey guys, welcome to Postpartum. Are you excited to review your husband's track? What do you call it? Episode? It's like his audio track. Codee. It's like those things people used to submit when they want to get discovered.
Yeah, that's right. That's
exactly
what these are.
They actually approached me and were like, if I tell my story, somebody will discover me.
Yeah.
Sure, they would agree.
I'm excited to clear things up.
Oh yeah. Go for it.
I've got some. Okay, so first of all, Eden talked about how we serve food differently. And he's correct in that I let my son, I'll give him things and I'll let him just eat by himself, because I feel like the sooner they can learn to eat independently, the better. And I have read that it helps with picky eating to have children eat independently. So he's correct there. He made it sound like I just like destroy the house and then leave it for him. Like there's like mashed potatoes on the walls and like ground turkey in the couch.
Maybe to him, that's what it feels like.
Sure it does. But let me clear up. So usually I will communicate with him and I'll say, Eden, I'll take care of Emmett. I'll clean him up and you clean up the table and the chair, which are the only two things that get dirty, because Sevi cleans up the floor, our dog. And so he will then take a rag and wipe out the table and wipe out the chair. And it takes maybe 10 seconds. So I'd like to clear that up first and foremost. That's our deal. And otherwise, I do clean up. I clean up 2 out of the 3 meals every day.
Yeah.
Yes.
So he can help clean up 1.
Yes. I was talking with Phil one time about meals and expressing how exhausted I was with planning meals. And I mean, this is not, I'm not alone in this lament, I'm sure, but I said, I don't remember where the conversation went, but I remember commenting that I take care of the meals 100% for 2 meals of the day. It'd be just nice if I didn't have to worry about 3 meals when there's a second pair at home, which I'm very grateful for that. I recognize that's not a luxury, so to speak, that every family or every household gets, but regardless, if I have that, I would love to not be solely responsible for preparing, cooking, serving, and cleaning up after 3 meals a day. Or else
For
I'd
2
like to have a
kids as
lobotomy.
well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not just 1. You have double
Yeah.
duty.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my thing is it's not only preparing, because I can prepare 3 meals, no problem, but it's also thinking of the meals, putting together a grocery list, going to the grocery store, which my husband does quite a bit because he's the one going to work and back. So I just say, hey, can you go by and pick this up, whatever. But I still have to plan it and tell him what to pick up. And then usually prepare it, though he will help with dinner often, and then cleaning up after. Like all of that together, I'm just like, okay. It's the cleaning part that I think bugs me the most.
Yeah,
cleaning up after.
It's not fun.
It is so not fun. If I could hire someone to just come wash my dishes every day, I would do it if I could afford it.
Just dishes, or would you include a few other things if that was available? Like, is that just the worst, or?
I feel like I am always drowning in dishes, so that's the only thing I can really think of right now. Though there is way more that needs to be done in the house, but it's like dishes are never ending. So I usually put Jamie down for a nap in the morning, afternoon. I go down and eat like my first meal of the day and do as many dishes as I can in his 40-minute nap time.
Yeah.
And that's like a daily thing, but then it's not enough to get it all the way done. And then by the nighttime, they've just all come back. They've reproduced.
Right.
Yeah, I'll do anything not to use a dish.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, we can microwave an egg in a cup
Yeah.
Yeah.
that I just drank water out of. That'll
Sure.
be fine.
Yeah.
Oh, this fork, I'll just rinse it and we'll use it for the next thing. It's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
I just hate, and it's not the dishes. The dishes I can put in the dishwasher, those are fine. But the ones like pots and pans,
Yeah.
they bother me. And the funny thing is the pots and pans will go in the sink, and that's when they all start to pile up for me, is when that first pot hits the sink.
Yeah.
It's like slow-mo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I like look and I'm like, why are there 7 other dishes here now? I just put a pot in just now.
Because they're like gremlins. You got it wet and now you have We are this weird place where like we used to have 2 incomes and no kids. And so we used to buy like paper plates and stuff so that we wouldn't have to spend the time to do dishes because we were always working. And so now we're like trying to save money by using reusable things, reusable bags and dishes and everything, but that just means more to wash. And so I'm at this really weird place where I'm trying to save money and be good for the environment and whatever, but I'm over it. I'm so over it.
That's hard. Yeah.
Is there anything else that you felt that you want to clarify with Eden's?
Man. No, I think that he was very accurate when he was saying that he his level of excitement was never the same as mine throughout the whole pregnancy experience. And I think that was true. At different levels, like in my third trimester, I think he was more excited than I was.
Oh, yeah.
Because I was just trying to survive. And then in the beginning, he was definitely not as excited, but he always acted interested, whether he was or not. I don't know what he was feeling, but I never got the sense that like he didn't care. And I would suggest to all men out there, act like you care even if you don't care.
100%.
Yeah. Because you're not in it. And even if you're not excited, this is a really scary thing for everyone involved. It's unknown, it's new, it's exciting for a lot of people, but it's also scary for almost everyone. And so you need to take the initiative of putting some of those worries to rest and letting them know that you're on board, you're supportive, you're looking forward to this baby, because it's going to happen. I think that's another thing that from listening to the episodes of our husbands, they were all like, oh, when it happens, it happens. Like, they're so different than all of us, where we were looking forward to this. We were planning for this. We were excited about this. And they're like, oh, well, when the baby's here, I'll take care of it. I'll make the changes.
Yeah. I found it the most interesting that Eden said that, because you guys actually did talk about it and make a plan. And I guess it did happen relatively quickly for you. But like usually when you have that conversation and you decide as a married couple that you want to have kids, you should be ready like the next month then to have.
Right,
but
yeah.
like he wasn't expecting it to happen.
That had
so
more
fast,
time.
I guess.
Yeah.
But, I mean, Phil was the same, I'm sure.
Yeah,
Or,
although,
like,
I mean...
you hadn't really discussed
we hadn't
it,
planned
but
it. Yeah, exactly. I mean, we discussed it, but we hadn't landed anywhere.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But, you know, your doctor did say, make sure you're ready to get pregnant when you say, so there wasn't, it was semi-known,
Right.
but I guess not expected, which
Right.
is just interesting to me.
We planned it. And I think Eden, kind of like you, Brittany, he knew he should be a dad. He knew that was going to be a step in life that was going to happen. And he thought that he'd be a good dad when the time came, but he never felt called to be a dad or excited to be a dad. It was more of, I think it's time. I'm 29 or 30. He was 30, and he was just, I was very ready. I was very excited. And so he thought, all right, I guess we're doing it.
Kind of like that mentality of like, you're never going to be ready, so it's okay that I don't want it.
And
Which I applaud him for kind of still being as present and showing up as he was.
Yeah. When I think logically we were ready financially, we were at a good place to have a baby. In his job, I had graduated college. I wasn't interested in going to grad school at that point or getting a job at that point. And so it was kind of like all the stars aligned, and his star may have not been in there, but every other star was.
Yeah.
So it's like, we're going to have to get the star there. It's going to have to get there. And so now he loves fatherhood, but I just thought it was so good that, because that was new to me, hearing that. I didn't know that when I said feel the baby, he was pretending like he was excited. I thought he really was excited to feel the baby move. And so maybe I shouldn't know that, because next time I'll be like, don't touch it. I know inside you don't want to touch the baby.
He's like, no, I really do this time. I'm like, yeah.
Okay. I'll see when I hear on the next podcast what you really think.
Oh, now I gotta
Well, and it's so different too, because I remember I could feel Jamie kick, you know, obviously way before TJ could, but when I had my hand on my belly and I felt like I could feel it on my hand, I'm like, oh, here, come, you know, and he'd put his hand on and he wouldn't be able to feel anything. And I'm like, no, it's there. It's just so small. And you can't, because I could feel it both ways, you know, I could feel both places. So I knew where it was. And I would have to tell him, like, that was it. and he just like was like, okay, cool.
Wasn't your tummy grumbling?
Yeah, like, and that's what he said it felt like. He said it just felt like an air bubble or like a muscle move, and I'm like, that's what it feels like.
That's
though.
what it is, though.
Yeah.
But eventually he could feel it, a lot, and then he cared more about it. But yeah, in those beginning, I was like super excited, and he was just over it.
Yeah. I remember at one point it was like insane. I would just lay on the bed and it would be like a water bed basically going on in my stomach, and it's so weird.
Could you just like watch it? I feel like I could just sit there and watch it for so long, and if it didn't happen within 30 seconds to a minute, TJ was back to whatever he was doing. Like he was like waiting. Okay, it's not gonna happen.
Yeah. Well, I got used to it, and that's when other people started thinking it was crazy. I'd be sitting on the couch with a tight shirt on, and people would be like, "Whoa, your stomach's going crazy." Yeah, this is my whole life.
Yeah.
So enjoy the show.
I don't think my stomach moved that much. I mean, Buddy was not ever really obvious, but Swiss was so intermittent. Like I couldn't sit and watch. I would be bored myself. And it's like, have you ever been trying to, not in like a meteor shower, but like whatever it's called when there's like shooting stars, but very infrequently, Anyway, and you're like looking, but you like see it over there and you're like, oh, no, it's gone. And then you're like, it's kind of like that where I'd be like sitting in church and I'm like, oh, wait. Hold on. And it would just be really intermittent.
Jamie for me is just moved all the time. Just kicked all the time.
Maybe they didn't have as much room.
That's what I was thinking too.
We can't move in here. This is basically a trap that we're stuck in.
People would say they would play games with their kids, like poke and then wait for a poke back. And if
Swiss
would poke, then I would poke back, and she would not respond anymore. And I thought she was just kind of like unimpressed.
That sounds like her.
Yeah, I know. Like,
stop bugging me.
I'm bored by this.
Yeah, no kidding. There was something I was going to say earlier, and we might do an episode on this later. But you were talking when you guys were talking about like cleaning or asking husbands to do something or whatever. Have you seen recently? And I might have shared it on the Partum the Mess page, but there's something about the mental load of women. I don't know if that sounds familiar, but it was like a illustration, and it was talking about, I remember it was like several comics together. So if you come across it, you'll know. But anyway, they were talking about how like women tend to not ask for help. This is really a summary, of course, but it like starts out where the woman is trying to do everything at a dinner party, and then there's like a disaster or something, and the husband's like, you could have asked for help. And then the person narrating it was talking about how women won't ask for help because when they do, that's like one more thing. Like they're the managers, like they're the organizers and the managers and the delegators and the doers. And so if they're gonna if they're gonna delegate, rather, they might as well just do it, right? And they can ask spouses to do it, but there's or partners or family members or whatever, but there's going to be a variety of responses that they get of compliance or how agreeable they are, the level of satisfaction with the job well done. But also it's just like another thing to think about, and that's what I was complaining to Phil about that a bit ago, about how tiring it is, because he says that he'll cook if I tell him what to do, but I'm like, then I'm gonna have to like step you through everything. Like you have to go to the store and get these things. Like that's exhausting, right? It's just really, really, really exhausting.
Yeah.
So that as a concept really resonated with me. Like it's just so like, make it easier. The theme, I felt like the overarching theme was like, make it easier on women. Like, and it said women, whether they worked or not, get assigned this. Like they have the mental load of the home regardless. And so
I feel that way a lot. And when when I was working and I had staff members, I would have tasks that I could delegate to staff members, but I would have to take the time to train that person on how to do it properly, and I would invest that time because it was an ongoing project. But I feel like a lot of times when we as women or myself are doing 5 things at once, taking the time to stop and not only ask for help, but then train that person how to do it properly or how to do it the way I want it is very, very difficult. And then on the flip side, my husband could say, you know, I can help you. I won't do it the way you want me to, but I can help you with it. So then I have to just take that time and that, you know, mental energy to deal with the fact that he's not doing it the way I want him to. And I've had to do that since Jamie has been born. He's helped a lot with cooking and with laundry and everything, but he doesn't fold the way I do. And I'm just like, whatever, throw it in the drawer. Now, I mean, I'm at that point now where I don't care. He's helping me, and that's all that matters. And then when he does, you know, cook, obviously he makes a bigger mess than I do. It doesn't taste the same as when I do it, or, you know, whatever it is. But yeah, having a baby has forced me to be okay with that because it's easier than me having to do it as well. But yeah, I think it took me a long time to even get to that place because I was so used to being the manager of it and doing it the way that I wanted it done or whatever. So I think it's twofold. I think definitely we need help, and we need it to be easier for us to ask for help. But then we as women also can try to let go a little bit as well, because if they are helping and they're not doing it the way we want them to, at least they're helping.
Yeah. And I think that will hold true to kids as well.
Yeah.
As we get older, because kids are going to have to learn how to do things, and guess what? They're not going to be good at first or maybe ever.
Right.
Oh yeah. My sister still loads the dishwasher. Like, I don't even know. She puts stuff in there, you know, right side up so that the bowls are going to fill with water versus being washed. And it's not, you know, she doesn't put as much in there as she possibly could. It's just kind of like, I'm just going to throw this stuff on here. And then I end up having to unload it and reload it.
Oh, no.
But, you know,
but they're learning how to live life. And at some point they should master it.
I think I saw something on Facebook once where the dad took a picture of his teenage daughter loading the dishwasher with Tupperware with the lids on. Oh. And he was like, should I tell her? Yeah, sometimes they just need to learn the hard way.
Yeah. I think they were making the point, though, as well, like, I agree with you, Jessica, but I think also they're making the point of, like, what's the expectation? Like, not starting off a relationship, or as you're developing the relationship, there should be some real conversations about, like, expectations and stuff like that. And I know there's plenty of women, and there's men out there like this too, but there's plenty of women that, like we're talking about, like to do a certain thing. Like, I take pride in dressing my children or giving a good meal. Like, if I could, I would say, like, take everybody away and I'll just take care of making the food, but I don't want to have to, like, plan every meal. And so I was telling Phil that I would love to have it where we plan the meals together. And so lots of reasons with that. And then I will be okay with shopping. And then, I mean, it'd be nice if there was some help with that sometimes. But my point is, I'm a lot more open to doing more things because there's things that I like to do. But when it feels like this, there's just an expectation, it feels not, like, inconsidered. Or I feel not considered. Yeah.
DJ and I have gone through a lot of years of these types of conversations, and I think I've come to the conclusion that he does so much better with having concrete assignments, whereas I was raised a certain way that if you walk through a room and you see a mess, clean it up kind of thing, and he was not raised that way. And for the longest time in our marriage, he didn't even see mess at all. Nothing. It didn't even register with him that it was mess. And so we have gotten to a place now where he knows some of the things that he does. Like, he takes out the garbage, he helps with dinner or helps with Jamie, whichever one I prefer, depending on what I'm making. Things like that, where he knows very specifically. So now when he walks by and he sees that the garbage needs to be taken out, he'll take it out. But he doesn't see other things that aren't on his list. You know what I mean? And I think that just helps him. Like, I wish that he would help with planning meals a little bit more, but I know his personality is that he really doesn't care what he eats. He'll eat whatever I make him, and if I don't make him anything, he won't eat anything. So I will pick the meals and I will make the grocery list, but he's happy to go to the store for me as long as I have that list.
It's a different balance for everyone. That's the important thing, is find something that one person should never feel exhausted and drained while the other person feels okay. And that's something you have to sit down.
You both need to be exhausted.
Yes. You're both going to feel exhausted and drained. And that's the reality of it. Because I think for a while, Eden would come home and he would think, oh, I worked all day long. And in my mind, I'm going, I did too. I worked all day long as well. But now you get to go rest, and I will cook dinner and take care of Emmett and clean up Emmett and put Emmett to bed and feed Emmett and change Emmett. And then wake up at night with him. That's the deal. No. Because that's not, then you get your nap and you get to be rejuvenated. And I am running on empty my entire life. You know, that's not a good balance. And so realizing, okay, we're both going to be tired. This is going to be hard on both of us because parenthood is not easy. And a lot of the time you don't feel well rested, or like you got everything under control, or like your checklist is complete. That just doesn't happen as a parent. And so you have to throw those expectations out of the window and say, all right, is the load equal? If it's not equal, we need to reestablish some of those tasks, some responsibilities, and make it equal. And that's the bottom line.
I agree.
I think communication is super important too. We've worked it out now the past couple of weeks that he gets one night a week to do things that he wants to do, and I'm taking care of Jamie, and then I get one night a week to do what I want to do, which is usually come here and record.
Thank you.
But in addition to those nights, if he had a particularly hard day or something, he just can let me know, I just need some quiet time, or I need to take a short nap or something like that. And I can do the same with him and just be flexible in that. But as long as he knows that when he does that, he is taking that time when he, you know, is usually helping me, rather than I deserve the, you know, I need to do this every day or whatever. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, I just need a break today, so I need to do this, and then I'm totally fine with that, and I'm the same. So yeah, it's been helping.
Yeah. I think, I mean, along with communication, there needs to be not expectation, but like an understanding of mutual respect. And that's what you guys have. You know, if there was a lot of things being communicated, quote unquote, you know, like Phil and I have talked about that. Like there's been probably times like this in your relationships too, where there's a lot of words happening. There's a lot of things being voiced, but that doesn't mean that we're going to respect each other's wishes. Like it usually turns into, oh, is that what you need? Oh, okay. Well, what I need is for you to, you know, like something like that. And so
you think life's hard? Guess what? Life's hard for me too.
Yeah, exactly.
For all of us, life's just hard. So help me.
Yes, exactly. But and then we've had good times like that too. You know, I feel like we're in I'm not trying to be like a braggy state with that, but I feel like we're in a pretty good place with that as well. But it's definitely been difficult to get there, and it probably will be difficult again in the future. But I feel like this sweet spot, you know, of like when you're just doing things out of love, despite that, you know, it's still gonna suck for you too, even though hopefully it's helping your partner. That was like the other day when I was telling you, actually I think you might have been inside, Jessica, we were all outside together, and I was telling Codee and Eden that when Phil does something like cleans when I'm gone with the kids, and I say, oh, what did you do during your like you time? And he says clean, and I said, well, I hope that was enjoyable. He said, yeah, it kind of reduced my stress. Oh, I'm sure. Well, no, it does. Oh, yeah, really, because it doesn't reduce my stress. I'm like bitter because I'm like, that was your time. But he says it does, so I need to trust that that's true. But I just I'm always so like, oh, you didn't use your time. You didn't get it, you know. But whatever. I can't control that, you know.
And something interesting now, compared to when we were first married, I remember when we were first married, Eden did not like making deals or setting, I don't know how to explain it, concrete expectations. So for example, I'll give you an example of something we do now. So 2 nights a week, I do bedtime routine, and 5 nights a week, Eden does bedtime routine. And Eden would never go for that. A couple years ago, he would have been like, no, let's just flow with it. Let's just see whoever's feeling good will do bedtime routine that day or whatever. It was like that all the time. Or he'd say, oh, well, I'll just take a nap on days I feel tired. Well, every day he feels tired. And every day he does not want to do bedtime routine. And we had to go through a lot of that because that's how he wanted to be as a dad too. Just like, if I'm feeling good, then I'll do this. And if I'm not, then I won't. That's not how it works. And so just tonight, he said, I don't remember exactly what it was about, but he's the words came out of his mouth. How about I make a deal with you? And I was like, how far you have come, my husband. That never would have happened, because he just hated it. He hated the idea that service had to be mandated, or there was this mutual agreement of I do this for you and you do this back for me. But that's what parenthood is. It's changing expectations and going, okay, just doing whatever feels good is not functional. It does not work in the long term for us right now. And so we need to set more specific agreements or expectations.
Well, thanks guys for tuning in. We hope to see you next week.